Yeah, your brand, like any part of you, builds up over time. So it is around doing work around purpose. It's around defining your values. And those are things that you should iterate on throughout the course of your life because your values can change. Your
Mm,
core values may never change. Like those probably lie somewhere in your personality and your social style and how you were brought up. Um, but other pieces of that, like how do you define success? Lots of people want to talk about, like, I want to be successful. What does success mean? And that should
mhm.
align to all those different things. And in my early 20s, I would have told you that success meant, a fancy car and a big house and a
Right.
great salary. And as you start to become more authentic and more honest with yourself, often how you define success changes. And for me, it has nothing to do with those things now. Success is about the connections that I make and the people that I help and having real relationships with people. And that's the legacy that I wanna leave, and that's my success. But those things all tie into my brand. So back to that piece about being authentic. When you're authentic, you show up in a consistent way.
Mhm.
When you're being inauthentic, you can be a little erratic because what mask do I put on for you? What mask do I put on for this person? And if you were to die today and all those people came together, would they all have a different idea of who you were? So
Right.
that tells you that nobody really knows who you are. So showing up in a consistent way creates a brand that should align to all of those layers of you.
Mhm.
Um, but again, that takes work. It takes self reflection. Um, you will make mistakes. I've certainly made mistakes over the years, and I still do. And I mentioned my book, and I'm working with a ghostwriter and editor on this, and she'll say, "I don't know today if you're a consultant or if you're a coach," and
Oh,
have to
wow.
bring me back in line. And it's interesting to have people around you that really know you that can help you too identify when you've stepped out of being authentic and when you feel like you need to put a persona on for something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's again, it's the process of self-reflection and being consistent and having people to tell you like, okay, you are a little bit off today or you're not who you are today, right? It's
Right.
calling out those things. But and actually this is the question for my own self that I would love to learn. It's like, yeah, we do want to get feedback. We do want to hear, I guess, like get feedback and people's opinion. But like how do you not at be attached to those opinions and then lose the sense of who you are? And I'm talking about this especially with nowadays for us millennials, with all of the and I think it's important question because for us right now with all the social media and propaganda even on YouTube and Netflix, like you hear those noises of like in a certain way of they trying to tell you who you should be this famous or that famous or have this many followers, right? Like how do you protect, I guess, like yourself, because you want to get feedback, so you want to talk to people, but then at the same time you have to put the boundaries of who to listen to and who not, and like how do you know if those people giving you authentic advices or they just repeating and adding to the noise of the outside world?
Well, listen to the words that they're saying to you. Like you, even in describing that, you said should several times, like that you
Mm,
should be. So somebody giving you feedback, telling you you should do this or you should do that, instead of giving you feedback that says, when I see you do this, it doesn't show up as well for you.
mm,
Very different type of feedback.
right.
And feedback ultimately is a gift that somebody is giving you, but it
Mhm.
really is their opinion. So you have to listen to the words that they're using when they tell you. And there's always a nugget of truth in there, but most of the time I would recommend never take somebody's feedback 100%. Take it in, think
Mm,
about it, self reflect,
mhm,
apply what feels right to the value system that you have aligned to yourself. And put yourself in situations where you do have trusted advisors. You do have people, frankly, that can call your BS. And I'll even talk about doing this. Like, I know your husband's listening, so he's going to know if you're being authentic on this or
Yes.
not. I was surprised to see on the chat there's a family member here. So I had that moment of like, oh, I hope I show up the way that I should. Um, uh, so those types of things are good checks and balances
Mm,
for us too.
right.
And that you do have, like, I know your husband a little bit. I'm sure he would immediately tell you if you didn't show up in a way that you would be proud of later, but it would
Mhm.
be in a very caring way. So again, there's going to be people in our lives that give us terrible feedback. Like
Yeah.
that's the reality of it is. And so that's why it's good to always don't just take it like somebody told me I should go do this, so I'm going to go do that. Internalize it, think about what the message is they were really trying to tell you. There's probably some nugget of something helpful there, but make
Mhm.
sure that you make it your own before you act on it. Um, and this is when we see your comment about the millennials and we see all these things on social media and we should wear this and we should buy that and we should act this way. Well, why? To what purpose? How
Yes.
does it align to the message that I want to tell about myself? Um, is this going to make me feel happy?
Mhm.
It's that whole idea that if I have a better job, I'll be happy. If I make more
Right.
money, I'll be happy. You'll be happy for like a nanosecond. Like those are like that instant gratification. That is not what brings joy to your life. And it is the things about finding your purpose, like loving that story about 30 years to find out that you need to be a doctor. Like
Mhm.
what beautiful joy and recognizing that it's not a perfect fairy tale either. Like
Right.
there's debt and there's time commitment and I'm sure all kinds of other sacrifices that had to be made to achieve that. But underlying that would be this joy of fulfilling your purpose.